Once Studio is installed, you should be able to find it by searching your Windows Start menu. And in Windows 8, the Start menu is an enormous screen full of squares and rectangles, but I should be able to find VS Express for Web. I'm going to right-click that and tell Windows to pin it to my taskbar. That makes it really easy to launch from a desktop view in the future. And then just click on the icon to get started. Visual Studio Express does want you to register and obtain a product key. Again, this is a free product, but you'll have to provide some basic contact information to obtain the key and keep using VS Express. For right now, I'm going to cancel this and just move forward, but you'll probably want to register right away. The first time that you launch Visual Studio, it might take a little extra time to perform some initialization, but every startup after this will be considerably faster. Now we're ready to go. Every great application that's built using Visual Studio starts by clicking on the New Project link. Or you can also go to File, New Project. And inside of here, you'll see templates to create all sorts of different applications, Silverlight applications, class libraries. Of course, the one we're interested in is an ASP.NET MVC4 web application. You can create this using Visual Basic, or for this course, we'll be using C#. I'm going to give the project a name. I'll call this Ode to Food, because I want to build a website where I can enter restaurant reviews, and I can select any folder on my hard drive, even one that doesn't exist yet, where I want to save this project and be able to work on it. Now I can click OK, and Visual Studio will ask me what template I want to use to create this project. In the future, you might see additional templates in this dialog box, and the idea is that you'll pick the template that is the closest match to the type of application you want to build. The empty template is great if you know exactly what you want and you want to start from scratch. The Internet application template is the one I'll be selecting. We'll talk about some of these other templates later in the course, but the Internet application template comes with a default homepage and all of the user interface pieces and infrastructure needed for a user to register on the site and then log on and log off. For the view engine, I'm going to leave the default value here of Razor. A view engine in MVC is a component that works inside the application to help you produce the HTML that you need to send back to the client's browser. Razor is the preferred view engine for ASP.NET MVC. It's the one I strongly suggest you use. I'll also let Visual Studio go ahead and create a unit test project for me. The project will have the same name as my web project, which is Ode to Food. It will just have a .tests appended at the end. And with that, I'll click OK. And Visual Studio will go ahead and start putting together my project. One thing that's new with ASP.NET MVC4 is all of the little pieces that go into this project, all of the different libraries like jQuery and jQuery UI. They are all added as NuGet packages. We'll be talking about NuGet later in this course too, but it makes all of these pieces very easy to update. So if there is an update to one of, let's say, the JavaScript libraries in my project, I can easily go out and install that update without manually downloading and copying files around. We'll see that. But for now, Visual Studio has created the project. It's ready to go, so let me run the application. I can click the play button up here in the toolbar to run this application inside of Internet Explorer. That'll have Visual Studio compile everything that will launch IIS Express and also Internet Explorer, and there we can see the application is running. That's a good sign. You can see that the template we picked, the Internet application template, it gave us a home page with some default colors and styles. We have a menu with working links, so I can go to an About page. I can also go to a Contact page. Notice the URL here is a nice, friendly, readable URL, /home/contact. There's no file extensions present. And if we view the source code to this, we can see it's nice, clean-looking HTML. In fact, it's HTML5 because we have an HTML5 doc type. And MVC4 includes some of the HTML5 best practices. For instance, specifying the language for my markup. Also specifying the character set encoding. It turns out that it's important to have that meta tag with the character set encoding specified if you want to avoid some strange and subtle cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. We also have a meta viewport tag by default, and this is important for mobile devices. You can think of this as an instruction for how the page should render. So without this meta tag, a mobile browser will assume that your page needs over 900 pixels to display properly, so it will zoom out to fit all of the content on the screen. But because it's so zoomed out, a user cannot work with the site until they zoom in. But with this tag in place, we are telling a mobile browser that our site will adapt to the width of the device, so please don't assume anything about how many pixels we need. This all works because of some instructions that are in the style sheet that are included in this application by default. I have a few other videos on Pluralsight that use MVC4 with mobile devices and jQuery Mobile if you're more interested in that topic. We also have a link to the Modernizer JavaScript library. Modernizer will ensure our HTML5 markup works with older browsers that were around before HTML5 was given any thought. So browsers like IE6, which is over 10 years old now, we can be sure that using the new HTML5 elements like header and section and nav, they will appear properly on that older browser. Later in the course, we'll explore where all of this comes from and how to modify it. For now, let's just be happy that MVC4 is keeping up with the latest standards and has given us a running web application to work with. But right now, I want to close the browser and return to Visual Studio to start poking around inside of this project.